Hi, guys, and welcome to the Horror Room. So, this week I thought that we would do something a little interesting. This is an older idea that I've done on my previous channel, but I said, you know what? It's such a fun idea. I have to revisit it. I have to give some different options. Some of these might be the same. I didn't go back and watch the video again. I just I went with my gut, which I have a lot of. Um, but anyways, so first off, let's talk about Grindhouse, that era of cinema. Now, these films were made for extremely cheap. A lot of them showed at drive-ins, the movie theaters in like New York and other towns. Um, and a lot of times to pull people in, they would do what was known as a double feature, where they'd show two movies back to back. Sometimes they had nothing to do with each other. Other times they'd group, action movies, horror movies, different stuff like that. And it wasn't till 2006 or 2007, I want to say, that Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino brought the idea back and they did a Grindhouse double feature of Planet Terror and Death Proof. And it was a really fun experience. If you missed out, sorry about it, because I'm gotta say right now, it was one of the best fun times I've had in a theater. Um, so not only did you get to see these two awesome movies back to back, sandwiched in between them were like fake trailers and stuff. So it really added to the feel of the Grindhouse. And I know a lot of people do like little movie marathons, or they sit and like, I'm gonna watch all the Halloweens or all the Friday the 13th. But there's just something about pairing two movies together that kind of complement each other that I think is really great. So I've selected 10, not 5, we're going 10 suggestions for you guys next time you want to do a double feature night. Um, Now, some of these pair together perfectly. Others, it's more the idea behind each movie. And I'll give you kind of a idea of what I had in mind, like what I'm thinking. So without further ado, let's start with the first double feature. I'm going to show you both movies and then explain why I picked them. Some of them will be a little more obvious. But yeah. So first off, we have The Burning and Sleepaway Camp. Now, automatically, the theming behind this should be very obvious. Summer camp. It's a lot of the horror movies did that trope after Friday the 13th. And, it's kind of looked at as a negative in the genre. But here's two films that took that idea and made something fantastic, especially The Burning. Now, if I had to recommend which order to watch these in, I would start with Sleepaway Camp, since it's a little more of a slow burn. It's got the big reveal at the end. It's pretty good. And then, of course, follow it with The Burning, because this has the more graphic, shocking scenes, especially the canoe scene. And you have special effects by Tom Savini, the master himself. So there's my first double feature, Sleepaway Camp and The Burning. Secondly, this one was pretty hard to choose because there's a lot of these movies that don't get talked about. And, I have other movies in this genre, but I was like, you know what? If you're going to do it, you got to do the best too. It would be unfair to like get one that's lesser with one of the bigger ones. But let's go ahead and talk about it. Got Rock and Roll Nightmare. Let me get the slipcover off. It's kind of reflective. Rock and Roll Nightmare and Trick or Treat. You got your heavy metal horror movies. Now, if I had to say which one to start with, this might shock you, but I'd say start with Trick or Treat, because I feel like this one's a little less crazy than Rock and Roll Nightmare, for good reason. Trick or Treat is pretty fun. People know Sammy Kerr and, the curse of his vinyl record. It's got a lot of great music by Fastway in it. It's got Ozzy Osbourne playing a preacher. It's got Gene Simmons playing a DJ, radio host. Then you get into Rock and Roll Nightmare with John John Mickle Thor. I think that's how you say his name, Mickle. Um, and this is about like a band they're practicing to, do an album, and turns out Satan has lured the band there and is trying to kill them all off. And there's this ridiculous fight at the end that's so much fun. It gives me Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny vibes. And it's also a great soundtrack. This has some good songs in it. I wouldn't say as good as Fastway, but I think this ending is just so over the top. The ending of this one's fun, but it's more, your standard 80s movie ending. This one, if you've never seen it, you don't see it coming. And I had watched a review of it, and I still wasn't prepared. So there's my second Grindhouse double feature for you. Rock and roll horror. Next, we have Evil Speak, and we have Brain Scan. And the theme for this is, technology, demonic technology. Brain Scan is about like a game that Edward Furlong is playing, and the lines between the game and reality start blurring. He starts thinking some of the murders are taking place in real life, that he's doing them, or maybe it could be the trickster. Then you have Evil Speak with Clint Howard, and it's like it's kind of like a military school, and Clint Howard's the outcast, and he gets a computer that is possessed by the devil. He becomes friends with a dog. It's a very weird movie, but once that computer possesses, I guess, Clint Howard, it gets pretty crazy. So I guess if I would have to say, start with Brain Scan. This is the lighter of the two movies. Some good music. Definitely the theme song sticks out a lot. But then go into Evil Speak and get ready because the ending is insane. There's a lot of decapitations. There's levitations, incantations. I'm not going to do that. Okay. Next, Killer Dolls. There's the theme. I just thought I'd get it out of the way. And I'm going to go ahead and give you the order to watch them in right now. First off, we have Blood Dolls. Charles Band's Blood Dolls. Now, Full Moon is infamous for doing pretty much doll movies. I mean, this other movie I got is technically a Full Moon movie. You got Puppet Master, you got Demonic Toys, you've got Dangerous Little Worry Dolls. There's so many. Ginger Dead Man, technically. But yeah, Blood Dolls is, when I saw the cover, I was like, oh, that looks kind of interesting. And interesting is, putting it lightly. This movie is crazy, but it is a lot of fun. And you're probably like, well, why would you put this one first? It sounds like this is the better of the two. Well, that's because the second one is Dolls, and Dolls is definitely the better of the two. The stop motion work, the creepiness of the toys. So this is more the fun, like goofy, lighthearted one, and this is the more like, oh god, that's actually kind of creepy. The Dolls theme, of course, and this is an infamous cover. This is one that you'd see sitting on the shelves during those VHS rental peaks. And for good reason. This one probably got rented more than Blood Dolls. But I think they pair nicely together. So if you want to have a killer doll night, forget Chucky, forget Puppet Master. Give these two a spin. Next, we have Movie Monsters. I was trying to think whether or not I wanted them to all be like space or Earth. Decided to do a little bit of both. And of course, I'll just go ahead and put them in order. First, we have Humanoids from the Deep, a Roger Corman classic. These fishmen attack like a small village, and they're trying to mate with the women. It's a little uncomfortable, and it's very graphic and gory, but it's a lot of damn fun. It's like, I don't know, it's like a hunt for these creatures, and they're going around killing, and yeah, it's pretty goofy at times. The costumes can get a little silly, but it is graphic, and it is bloody, and it is fun. Same with this movie, The Deadly Spawn. This is a underrated sci-fi classic. A lot of people compare it to Alien, which I'm like, okay. It looks nothing like a xenomorph, but this movie is so bloody and awesome. The practical effects on display here are baffling, like some Tom Savini level shit, in my opinion. But I think the Deadly Spawn is fantastic. It's a fun movie. This one, it's a little more of a darker edge, so you definitely want to end it with a little more of a lighter tone, even though this has some moments. Next, we have zombies, quotation, question mark. Because, some of them zombies, maybe. But yeah. So we'll start with the more non-traditional zombie movie, and that's Nightmare City. These are technically not zombies, but the movie treats them like zombies. They look like zombies, but they can use weapons. They can run. This is like the prototype movie for the sadness, if I'm being honest. They do some horrible things in here, but they're more zombie-like. Um, they use guns though, which is kind of weird and odd. But it's like a nightmare. It's a pretty crazy movie. It has a very infamous ending. Um, I won't spoil it, but I would say check it out. If you like Italian movies, you know what you're getting in for. And then for the second movie in this, Burial Ground, Nights of Terror. Of course, you know I was going to recommend that. Hopefully you knew. Um, is it the best zombie movie? No. Is it the best Italian zombie movie? Again, no. But it is a fun, interesting, quirky, crazy movie. Yes, yes, it is. And I would recommend that movie to anyone who thinks zombie movies are boring. It has some slow moments, I'll give you that, but it definitely has some weird moments. And I love that ending. Like, I know it's bleak, but just you're cornered, you're trapped. Now, next, this was an interesting one because I was like, you know what? I don't think I want to do director double features, but these movies are just so bizarre, but they go together like peanut butter and jelly. So this is the Frank Henenlotter double feature. So you want to start with Brain Damage because this is a very weird, quirky little film. I hadn't seen it for the longest time, and after watching it, I couldn't believe that I hadn't seen it for the very longest time. And it's a lot of fun, but it's not as fun as, of course, the other movie, and you could have guessed. Frankenhooker. This movie is nuts. You have exploding prostitutes. You have body horror. You have comedy that's really inappropriate but very funny. Um, Pimps, prostitutes. You want a date? Mad science gone wrong. It's batshit. It's like weird science meets From Beyond. That's the best I can say. So yeah, Brain Damage and Frankenhooker. Try these out. Next, we're gonna do a cannibal double feature, and I know most cannibal movies are pretty extreme. So it goes without saying, don't do this unless you're prepared to see at least some animal deaths. Um, and no, I'm not including Cannibal Holocaust, so before you click away. I decided that I wanted to choose two that don't get a lot of love. One of them gets a little more love than the other. And that's what I think you should start with. Get the harder to watch one out of the way. And that's Cannibal Ferox. This one does have some graphic scenes. It does have a little bit of animal cruelty, if I remember. But yeah, this movie is, I'd say it's second to Cannibal Holocaust for good reason. But get this movie the first shot and then go to Slave of the Cannibal God. This one surprisingly had me more invested in the plot and the characters than the cannibal stuff, which there are some cannibal stuff or moments in here, but it's just a really, really good movie. I think it's probably one of the best done cannibal movies besides Cannibal Holocaust, but that has more darker themes and tones. This one's it's a little more fantasy action tones, and I really like that for it. but it's a good cannibal movie regardless. So, Cannibal Ferox and Slave of the Cannibal God. There you go. And now we have a Giallo double feature. I guess technically one of these isn't technically a Giallo, but, you know, I think it fits kind of in the genre. It definitely is weird. So I'd say start with start by dropping it. Start with stage fright. You got a guy in a owl mask murdering actors in a play, and that's not even the craziest part of it. It does get pretty bizarre near the end. The ending is kind of ridiculous, kind of made me laugh. But it's a really underrated movie that people don't talk about a lot. Yeah, so I'd start with Stage Fright and then move into Dario Argento's Four Flies on Grey Velvet. This movie is fantastic. And when people talk about Giallos, this one does not get brought up enough. People talk about the bird with the crystal plumage. They talk about Deep Red. They talk about Suspiria, even could be considered a Giallo to a degree. But yeah, Four Flies on Grey Velvet, I think, is one of the best. Even though you can kind of see the ending coming with the reveal of who the killer is, it still doesn't make it any less fun. And last but not least, I figured we'd do some over-the-top, offensive, crazy stuff. These are kind of trauma and spirit, I guess, if you want to say that. First, we have Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers. This movie is very weird. It's kind of like a crime movie, like a crime drama with, you know, TNA and blood and chainsaws and Toby Hooper. Wait, no, not Toby Hooper. Jay Richardson, is that his name? No, Gunnar Hansen. I'm so stupid. Gunnar Hansen, the guy who played Leatherface. I was trying to find it on the back here and it's hidden. But yeah, start with Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers and then move into the slime-tastic movie that is the original Street Trash, not the remake. This one definitely is a gross out movie. It has a lot of fun moments. It definitely has a lot of offensive moments. So if you have seen a trauma movie, it's similar. I say that a lot, but it's a compliment, in my opinion. So yeah, Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers and Street Trash, perfect pairing. So let me know down below, are you going to do any of these double features? And if you do, let me know how you would rank those experiences. Do you have your own double feature that you would recommend? I'd love to hear it. Like I said, I might do some more of these in the future, so let me know if you want to see another one of these. Maybe I'll shorten the list a little bit so it's not as long. Or if you're like, hey, keep the recommendations coming, maybe I'll do another 10. But yeah, so that about wraps it up for this. Now, with that said, the last time we did a movie collection video, we did Anchor Bay. And that was a while back, so I figured it's been a little while. I think it's time to move on to the next collection video. And I am pretty sure that I want to do Blue Underground. Because Anchor Bay was, in most people's opinion, the top tier. I think Blue Underground is right there fighting for second place because Blue Underground has a lot of fantastic releases. So we're going to talk about those. I don't know yet if it's going to be a long, like, parts video, but we'll see. Hopefully you guys stick around for that because I'm excited to talk about Blue Underground. Almost as excited as I was for Anchor Bay. I can't guarantee it won't be like more than one part, but we'll see. Maybe it'll only be 2. If you guys don't mind a little bit of a longer video. But you're watching this, so so thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next week.